Hi, everybody. You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Hello.
Dave Pryor, how you doing?
Good, Bill. How are you doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the Gretna Bill Show.
Thanks. It's good to be on.
Yeah, I'm really jazzed to see unPAved happening 2020. And I saw registration open up yesterday for the lottery.
Yep.
So we're all dying to find out how that's going to work this year. So we thought you might be able to tell us today.
I can try.
That's all we can ask.
Yeah, we're going forward with a smaller event. You know how here in Pennsylvania we have a cap on events now of 250 people, which is about a decent size for an outdoor gathering. That includes all the staff, volunteers, marshals, medics, the whole kit and caboodle of people. So that gives us about room for 200 or so participants.
Nice.
Decided, since outdoor recreation still seems to be a good thing, it's not causing spikes yet. We're keeping an eye on that, of course. That we're going to go for that and set it up for 200 people, put it open for the full 120-mile race course. People seem to want the big distance, so we're going to open up the full course. And we're going to mix things, since it's only for 200 people, seemed like that's a lot to try and say, hey, sign up at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning,
Right.
First one in that just seemed unrealistic, and it's not fair to everyone. So we're going to go with the lottery. That's what other big events have done. So it's our turn to try the lottery system. We opened up a little glitch. It opened up officially this morning, starting, I think we got 50 some people in it, and I haven't really promoted it much yet that it's back open. And so we'll keep that open until August, 2nd, through the weekend of August 2nd.
Okay.
Midnight then, and then we'll announce who's in on Monday the 3rd. And if things change and things get for the better, things change for the better, and we're allowed to increase the field size, then we'll pull from the wait list for that. So if you don't get in, don't quit on us yet. We're hoping things will improve. We're always hopeful. But if they don't, and that's what we can play with this year, and then so be it. Anyone who's on the wait list and didn't get in, they'll get early bird chance to register next year. We'll get preferential treatment. If that's going to be one of those things that sell out quickly, make sure that they get a chance to get in if they didn't get in this year. So
right. So that's excellent, man. So it's going to be a dynamic kind of a situation up until the date, which is what, October 11th? That's a Sunday?
October 11th. Sunday, October 11th.
Okay. And what time do you plan?
And there's going to be a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah. What time are you going to get off that morning? 7 o'clock?
Roughly 7 o'clock is when we'll get the first people out. Another big change we're going to do, instead of a mass start event,
right,
we're going to do it as an individual time trial.
Wow.
It's actually something we've been thinking about a little bit. The thumb our nose that people are going, oh, gravel's going to turn into road racing. There's going to be packs and pelotons and stuff. And I've been like, all right, when we get a time trial, that'll take all the packs and pelotons out. That'll take teamwork out.
Good move.
So Kuhn and I have been joking about that for a while. And it seemed like, well, let's institute it this year. So we're asking people when they register to kind of tell us how you plan to spend your day. Do you think you're going to spend all day out there because you can, and doesn't matter how long it's going to take you to finish, but you're going to finish? Or are you someone that wants to try and win the day? You want to try and win? Like, I'm out there to prove myself? Or are you somewhere in between? So we're going to get that as a questionnaire and then try and seed the field that way. So the people who need to spend every waking hour and need to throw on some lupine lights at the end to get back to Lewisburg, they get to start first. And the people who can pull this thing off in 7 to 9 hours, they can start later in the day. Maybe we'll throw Ted King in the middle somewhere and just have him be an oddball.
Excellent. Are you going to give any preferential treatment to some returning pros or pros at all?
If you won this before, you can come back and play. I will say that they will definitely get
a little preferential treatment.
Yeah, there's a couple people who have asked that I think would be fun. They've been vetted as good people that everyone would love to see, and so there might be a little bit of that. But it's really, that's another reason to do the lottery this way, is we don't want to turn this into an elitist thing. We don't want to say, well, there's only 200 spots, so it's $500 and something like that.
Yeah.
It could have been probably easier to have done that, to be honest, now that I think about it. But we're not trying not to go there. But yeah, there'll be some things. If there's a sponsor who has someone who wants to come out and play, that hopefully can do it. So fingers crossed we can announce that later.
All right, cool. So what about those folks that aren't fortunate enough to win the lottery, or that just want to come up for the weekend and ride like they did last year?
Right.
What's going on with them?
That is our part 2 of this, because, it's not hard enough to throw one event in 2020. We decided we're going to run 2. But this is interesting. It's not a virtual event, but it's a way to come up to the region, go for a couple bike rides, not 120 miles a day. One could be, you can actually choose the ride how you want, but we've set aside 2 segments of our course as long Strava segments, time segments. So the first one is 25 miles, and it's a 54-mile course that stays north of 45. It does the first giant climb up Jones Mountain.
Yep.
And then rolls down through those vistas and those beautiful descents.
Yep.
Circles back through one of the prettiest roads that's on the course that only the 54 milers have gotten to do before. And then back up to Hobo Vista, and then down into Mifflin, then down to the bottom of Jones Mountain. And that's a time segment. And we'll also send you a route that you could start in Lewisburg or Mifflinburg, kind of around there, and get a 50-mile ride in where you definitely hit that segment. There's a lot of ways you could do that. So that'd be one day. The next day, or vice versa, that segment is the difference. It's our infamous difference between the 90-mile course and the 120-mile. That part south of Pope Patty that hits 4 major climbs, the 4-mile long wheel draft descent that, the 4 miles of our 120 miles that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Where it gets a little rough and rowdy. So it's a real mix of things. Again, one of the most beautiful climbs in the whole region up Huffnagle Road. So from Pope Patty Park, 30-mile loop, lollipop. And we've set it up so you get a little more of a ride when you do the ride with GPS. You start somewhere else, not at Pope Patty, someplace a little easier to park, and then ride to a rail trail and a tunnel and get a little bit more of the sights and sounds. But then,
and that Narnar downhill is in there, right? Still,
what's that?
That downhill.
That rowdy downhill is on there.
Rowdy
of course.
Downhill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the extension of how far can your gravel bike go?
So, how are you going to deal with the 250 person limit in this situation, or it's not going to be a condensed event, so you might be able to spread that out?
Well, the weekends can be as many people as want to come out and play. That is, there's no limit on the amount of people for that. I mean, we're basically treating it like everyone should come up and ride this some weekend anyway. I love going up there and doing a 2-day ride. So just kind of doing a little more thrill incentive with it, since there's not many events going on this year. While this isn't what I would classify as an event with a post party and a bunch of gathering and rest stops, as none of that. You are on your own, you're doing your own ride, and we're just looking to see how you did and setting up a leaderboard and throwing prizes out randomly throughout the thing, and basically having fun with everyone, through virtual tools, through the Strava segment, through the Strava club to sign up for, or send me your files as long as I can see them and read them, and then I'll score it. But there'll be Instagram contests in it. There'll be random prizes we're going to do throughout the thing. We're trying to keep people engaged and fun and going outside and playing while we can.
Will there be any sort of a venue to host those events, either on Saturday or Sunday, or it will kind of be just a designated area where you start that segment from, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, the segments are designated spots. So the one to the north starts at the bottom of Jones Mountain on that road and circles back around, and you go right by roughly the same spot. So that's a segment. You could start your ride wherever. You could start in Lewisburg or Mifflinburg or,
yeah. So you don't anticipate having like 250 cars converge on any one spot.
That is just people riding when they want and that sort of thing, as they basically have been. I mean, the forests have been pretty busy, and outdoor recreation's a thing. I don't know about you, but the rail trail by me is filled with new families riding bikes. It's been a beautiful thing to watch.
It's the same thing here, in Mount Gretna. So, will the hotels and lodging facilities and everything be pretty much open? And,
they are.
And how about restaurants and bars and so on and so forth?
Yeah, that area has not been hit very hard by this so far. So they've been green pretty early. And they've got a really good health facility. They got 2 really good hospitals right in Lewisburg. So they've been green early. So the hotels have been open. The restaurants are doing kind of the outdoor seating as much as possible, and then half capacity inside. And so expect that to kind of keep going, or maybe get better between now and when people can go.
Bucknell be in session? Will Bucknell be in session?
Bucknell is starting in I think it's August 9th or 10th. So they are starting a week earlier than they typically do. And that's one of the things we're keeping an eye on to see what happens. I also work at a school like Bucknell at Lehigh University. So I'm very involved with the protocols and how things are changing and the markers we'll be looking for. And that's one of the things for the main event, for the Sunday event, that, if they get a massive outbreak in August, early September, then that changes the event. So that there's a lot of still ways the one-day event may not happen. Let's be clear about that. We set up a refund deferment schedule that's part of that. So everyone should look at that when they register and make sure that you're signing on for something. Everyone needs to read the waiver and the event notes and the rules all the time anyway. Now is especially that time. At events, make it a practice, everyone, to read your event notes and your waivers and your rules. I have a lot of new stuff in the waivers that, and it may be why you don't want to do it. You have to wear a mask anytime you're at talking to a marshal or in an aid station or at the start-finish area or signing in. Everyone's going to stay 6 feet apart. There's going to be a single line file to get water. It might be water bottles. Everyone might have to get an individual water bottle instead of filling up at a cooler. There's a lot of those things that are going to happen because we're trying to keep everyone as safe as humanly possible through this. So read all that up. Make sure you're signing up for what you're comfortable signing up for. And if you're not, go for bike rides. Go outside and do something. Whether you come up to do the challenges or you just go up to that region and ride around, it's great. The tourism, Susquehanna River Valley Visitors Bureau, has set up a lot of hotel deals. They're on their website. We're putting a link up on our website, and we'll be emailing those out too. And if you register for the challenge, you'll see in your confirmation email, you'd be like, go to any of these hotels when you're staying there. They'd love to have you. If you go to those hotels, we have some unPAved swag bags there. And you might even be able to win things like a LUPINE light. I've heard.
Indeed. Yeah.
I've heard.
Yes.
I've heard things. There's possibilities in there.
Yes. Quite interesting.
Interesting. No, thanks for your support on that. Like, it's really helped
My
keep
pleasure.
this community engaged.
So if I sign up for my $40 for the weekend of the 11th and 12th, or the 10th and 11th.
Nope. That could be any weekend between August 1st and 10th or 11th. That $40 one is any time. That is not event weekend. That is, I'll be up there, I think, August 1st and 2nd to go for a bike ride. And then I haven't tried these loops myself in a while, so it's time to go try them and see how I do.
Part of that $40, then you somehow register your Strava name and time, and then you'll sometime after October 11th or whatever, you will kind of award prizes, and there'll be other things like Instagram you mentioned. So,
yeah. There's a form you fill out when you have completed the ride. That's a Google form to tell me your name, tell me the links to your ride so I can see them. If you have a Strava account, that makes it a little bit easier. If you're joining a Strava club, that also makes it a little bit easier. But we'll be willing to work around and play with it. So that's basically every weekend, August, September, and October. And if it's popular and people like doing it, we'll go into November because it's a nice time to ride up there in November too. So
if I wanted to come up for that particular weekend, I might be able to get a chance to see some other riders actually doing the 120 and be on that course simultaneously, perhaps at some point. And that's not going to be a problem, or are you discouraging that? Or
I am discouraging that just to keep the numbers low and mitigated and keep our aid stations, because it would be easy if I was just doing a ride and see an aid station, people are hanging out to want to grab, hey, can I get some water and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And trying to keep people, we have a cap of 250. So it'd be easy to mix that up. If you want to do that weekend on Sunday, the 11th, while people are doing the 120, I'll give you a route to go ride up an RB Winter. Those gravel roads are fantastic and beautiful. You wouldn't be on the course at all, and you're getting to do something else entirely. And who knows, that might be part of our course going forward. We looked at doing expansion.
So that's a great idea too. There is some great stuff up there. So now, if I should happen to get in, like myself, if I get in the 120, I'm looking at probably 8 hours or plus. Are you putting a time limit on it? 9?
Yeah, I think it would take me a good 9 to 10.
Yeah. That means it'll take me 11 to 12 then.
Typically, we've set there are time checks to get to aid stations by, and if you don't get, it's, for those people who know the course, we've made some minor tweaks to it, but it is basically the same idea where you could cut off sections. So if you get to the Popatty aid station, I forget what it is, say by 2 p.m., we're not giving you the option of doing the 30-mile difference. You can continue riding, and now you're doing a 90-mile ride instead of a 120-mile ride. because you just won't get back until midnight if you do it that way.
So that'll be on the fly decision that you will make, or
there's a schedule for that. You can see it on the website and you can see it on the event page. Lights are mandatory leaving the aid station the second time. I think at 4 p.m. we make lights mandatory because you won't get back in daylight if you don't do it by then. So things like that. But we're very generous, but we also will not be at the Miller Center this year, unfortunately, just not want to bring a bunch of people to their community of people. So we're trying to keep that separate. So we have we'll wait for you. I'll be sitting outside. Gotcha. It's not going to be a big post party. There's a lot of the big event that's not going to happen because it's going to be an individual challenge. So there's not going to be a lot of free beer flowing at the end. We'll probably hand you a whoopie pie and maybe give you a pat on the back because that's socially safe. But yeah.
Awesome. So I'll talk to you further after this podcast, but I want to provide some sort of a discount to those riders doing the 120 that think, geez, I'm going to need a light, or anybody actually in conjunction with unPAved. So we got to try to dovetail those together, and I'll give a nice discount to those folks that need a light and want to get a light for fall riding. No problem. I'll work with you on that.
Great.
All right, cool.
I recommend anyone who rides POC helmets. The Pico works so perfectly back. It's like they were made to go work. I don't know if you guys engineers work together, but
I know.
That is the most perfect system I've ever had in my. I've been riding we've been riding night things since the early 90s, and that is finally it's been perfected. Thank you.
Right on. So other than unPAved, which pretty stoked about, you're able to provide this. What are you and Coondog got planned else in this fall? What else is coming up on the calendar?
Iron Cross seems to be going. I've actually been so up to here with unPAved. I haven't talked to them much about Iron Cross, but I just saw something came across social on that. So I let him and Gunnar talk about what's happening there. I know he's also up to here with things for the high school league. I kind of stay separate from that just so we don't end up talking about high school league the whole time or talking about unPAved the whole time at either meeting. So we just check in a little bit. And then we're doing scouting because at some point things will return to some level of normal, and then there'll be more normal events again. And then we have some ideas for some big ones that Pennsylvania's got a lot of space with a lot of gravel roads. So it's time to go explore more of them.
Enjoyed. Do you think that the Iron Cross format will be more of a time trial format as well?
I don't know. I have honestly not talked to them about that.
I haven't spent any time with that. You've had your hands full.
I know some mountain bike events have been going off in wave starts. I've seen some of those going. So people are trying some unique, creative things. And we're just going to keep an eye on each other and see, if any spikes happen from an event, then that changes the whole dynamic of things. So
I was at Grenoble Saturday, and I've got my fingers crossed.
Okay, I like that one.
Yeah, and John Miller did a great job, and Heather down there.
Yeah, they're great.
And they had a timing strip with antennas on either end. And we just kind of drifted around. We were wearing masks when we were kind of in the area, keeping apart. And then you'd go up at whenever your group was called, 2 at a time.
Right.
6 feet apart. And then you just pick somebody in your age group and you say, okay, let's go. And you'd go across. And as soon as you went across, then your time started. And then another 2 guys would go across, or gals, or whatever the case may be. Seemed to work out really great. Everybody was kind of keeping their distance with the people they traveled with. And I didn't see any group together, actually.
And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us not doing what we love to do. Like, I'm not going to hug you when I see you next time. We're not going to say, hey, do you want a sip of this and that sort of thing? Like, those things are off the table for a while. And if we can do that, we can mitigate this as best we can and hopefully continue to do things, because it's been so hard. I mean, it has been really overwhelming how much people have want to do these kind of events and want to do unPAved. And then so much easier to just say, nope, we're not doing it this year. Never mind. But it's worth working for, man, because people are great.
I applaud you, man, and I thank you very much, because it's definitely needed by all of us. Some semblance of normalcy.
As abnormal as we are.
As abnormal as we are. Yeah, that's kind of that's almost an oxymoron. But anyway, thanks for taking the time from your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And Great chat, and looking forward to riding with you soon.
Same, man. Same.
All right.
This is, again, for helping us get the word out, helping explain things, and maybe we can give ourselves on some segments or find other spots.
All right. Peace out, Dave. Thank you.
Man.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Phil.
Yep.